Hello and welcome to the New Hampshire International Speedway. Yes, I'm still going to call it the International Speedway. It's Murph. It's the man, the myth, the wreck, Ryan Eric King, and we're here for 142 laps of Horizon IndyCar Series action live here on the P1 Broadcasting Network. Ryan, we're getting ready for qualifying here. What do you expect to see? This track can race a lot of different ways in these Indy cars.
Yeah, it can race a lot of different ways. Usually in recent years, it's a bit processional, with people kind of sitting in that third lane in the corners, above the darker strips on the inside, just to get a bit more grip and carry more speed. So it'll be interesting to see what kind of New Hampshire we get today.
It most certainly will. Looking at things from the practice perspective, this track races a lot different than you would think. It looks very similar to Milwaukee. It is a little bit more narrow. The track is a little bit more flat, and the bottom groove is essentially not usable here, is it, Ryan?
No, it is not at all. There's not really any grip down there.
No, there's not. So if you look at the track, you'll see what amounts to 5 lanes painted wide. The drivers here, the bottom is effectively lane 2. You're looking at Gary Lovren. He's running that re-liveried Votive Racing League machine up in lane 3.5 for his qualifying run. Gary Lovren is going to go second quick. We're going to give you the nickel tour of New Hampshire, and we're going to do it riding on board with Mike Rigney. So here's Rigney. He's going down into turn number 1, and he's going to park his car way down, almost in lane 2. He's fastest on the board in his lap 167.738, bested momentarily by Mark Cohn, his good buddy, and he's going to smack the fence off at turn number 4, and that's something that these drivers are going to have to be very, very cognizant of.
Yeah, because you're not running near the bottom, it makes the track feel even narrower. There's not that much distance between you and the outside wall.
No, there isn't. Here's Matt Wagner. We're going to jump on his roll hoop. He comes by for lap number 2. Here's Wags. First lap 22.116. Good enough for fourth quick at 166 miles an hour. Let's see if he can get up there and get past Mark Cohn. Here he comes off at turn number 4. He stays well short of the wall, Ryan, and Matt Wagner is going to go second fast, just a shade of the stopwatch slower. Mark Cohn with a 10th on everybody as we head for the last qualifier. This is Nate Fields. Do want to thank everybody for showing up in the chat. We've got Dirty Fly, we've got Anna the Deer, we've got Gaming Guy. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining in. If you've got a question during the chat, you want to point something out, let us know. Ryan and I are more than happy to hook you up with whatever we know or don't know. Nate Fields smacks the wall coming off of turn number 2. And I think, Ryan, this is going to be the last qualifier. Joseph Morales and Jeff Hysong still have yet to take time, but they are not on the course, and there's just about a minute left. So just to talk about weather here really quick, it is an ideal day in New Hampshire. 67 degrees, Ryan, in the air, 103 on the track. That's just about perfect for these cars. A puff of wind out of the south, 1 mile an hour. That will affect absolutely nothing. And there is not a cloud in the sky. Look at this business, Ryan. You ever see a sky that pretty?
No, we might as well be indoors right now.
Yeah, this place looks like the inside of a Major League Baseball stadium dome right now. It is absolutely gorgeous for these sim racers.
It is. And it's basically room temperature.
Yeah, you're not gonna see it much better than this as we head for the starting grid. This is going to be kind of fun, Ryan. I'm actually looking forward to this from an intellectual perspective. Depending on the setup, these cars can get extremely racy depending, right? It's going to depend on the setup. The weather we know is absolutely perfect, but let's see what the setup gods have given us here tonight for the Horizon IndyCar Series. On the pole, it's going to be Mark Cohn, 169.305 miles an hour. He'll be flanked by buddy Matt Wagner to his outside. Row 2, Chris Stover, Mike Rigney, Hugo Galez, and Yari Brubaker. They're going to go from row 3. Andrew Surwack, Gary Lovern. They'll start 7th and 8th. Jacob Wilson, Daniel Durazo. The Cat, he'll round out the top 10. In 11th, it's Lith Fox. Nate Fields will be 12th. Turner Johnson, 13th. Alex Miller and Jeff Heistong will start 14th and 15th. Shane Coker is your race control. The 16th entry with no time, Joseph Morales, and he will rock up on the inside of row 9. 16 Indy cars signed in tonight, Ryan. And what does that tell you about how the racing might go tonight?
I hope we're in for a relatively clean race with a slightly reduced field. Usually, especially on long runs around New Hampshire, you quickly get to the tail end of the field. You have to work your way through traffic.
Yeah, you most certainly do, and that's kind of the thing that I'm looking at too. Is it going to be a situation where there's going to be a jam car, where there's going to be somebody that's laps down that's going to cause the leaders to have to check up and cause that domino effect throughout the field that's going to produce passing for position? We know that the sharp end of this grid, Wagner, Cohn, Wagner, Stouffer, Rigney, those are some bad, fast dudes. But there's also, looking at the back of this field, Jeff Heisong, he's no slouch. And Alex Miller is a 3-time winner in the series this season. Alex Miller has won 3 events, Watkins Glen, Gateway, and Auto Club. Daniel the Cat has the win at Michigan. And Liam O'Sullivan, who is not present tonight, he was the winner at the Kentucky Oval. As we get ready to roll off round 6 of the Horizon IndyCar Series at New Hampshire. And there you hear the call, Ryan. We are not going green. They're going to hold them for one more lap. 142 laps around here. What do you expect the fuel window to be, Ryan?
Ooh, it's been a while since I've raced around here. I've just spitballing. I want to say it's going to be about somewhere between 40 and 50 laps.
Yeah, normally I would expect that. Typically speaking, the Horizon IndyCar Series is going to go with a reduced fuel tank just to try to have more green flag pit stops. This should be similar to Milwaukee, so something on a full tank between 50 and 60 laps. If there's a reduced tank, I would expect stops anywhere between 40 and 50. But that's something that we are definitely going to have to keep an eye on. The lights are on the pace car, and so we are not going to get the green flag this time by. One of my favorite shots, Ryan, is that one. Put it in the rear bumper of the pace car and look at Mark Cohn bearing down on you. That's a long time. A lot of the fans in the broadcast, they might not be used to seeing Mark Cohn at the front of one of these things. He doesn't race a lot of officials, but that is a veteran driver right there, Ryan.
Yeah, he's someone you'd expect to try to break out early and solidify his position at the front.
Yes, he is, and given New Hampshire and its reputation for being pretty difficult to pass, it may be that Mark Cohn is able to get out of here and get going and run away and hide, especially with the fact that there isn't going to be much traffic out here on the New Hampshire Speedway. We've only got 16 Indy cars signed in for tonight's event, but the 39 has control. The number 6 of Matt Wagner is to his outside. Barney's got the green flag in hand, and we are set and ready to go. Green flag is out, 142 laps at New Hampshire await.
We get through 1 and 2 clean. Everyone starts to file down into one line of cars.
Yes, they do. We're clean through 3 and 4, Ryan. One more time we go.
We had a bit of a heart attack for
Whoa,
third
car
there.
hard in the wall in the back. Hard impact. That is Jeff Hysong, and he has absolutely written off the In-N-Out Burger machine. We're going to have to go back and take a look at that, Ryan. I saw a car in the back just absolutely shoot dead right.
Yeah, I think he got tagged.
Well, we're about to find out. Let's see what's happened to Jeff Hysong here. He rolls through turn 3. And what has happened to Jeff? All right, so you see Nate Fields gets kind of squirrely there coming down the front. Jeff Hysong drops to the bottom of Alex Miller. They are 3 wide. That's Fields, Lovern, and the monkey in the middle is Jacob Wilson. The accident's going to happen at this end of the course. So Hysong, Ryan, he just kind of checks up for Jacob Wilson. Alex Miller doesn't anticipate. Miller into the back of Hysong, and Hysong hard into that outside wall. Caution on the speedway here. We are lap 4 of a scheduled 142. Now, you mentioned Mark Cohn was going to try to break away. He was in the process of doing that. Mark Cohn's fastest lap, 4/10 quicker than Chris Stouffer, who runs in second. He was battling with Matt Wagner. Stouffer had the nose ahead when the caution came out, so he'll get to restart in second. Do want to let you know that Mason Mitchum checked into the chat. He's let us know that he's in the process of switching to triple monitors, and he's sad to miss this race today. Well, we're sad that you've missed it too, Mason. This is universally a pretty fun place, but not for Tony Kanaan, Ryan.
Oh, dear.
Ryan,
I know a lot of people who have not had good days at this place.
Ryan Eric King knows exactly where I'm going with the Tony Kanaan reference at New Hampshire. There's exactly one driver in modern IndyCar history that I know that has crashed into a Porta-John, and that was Tony Kanaan at this racetrack, 2010, 11, 9?
Yeah.
Somewhere in there.
I think it's 10.
Yeah, he spun off it was with Lotus. He spun off at turn number 2. They don't have that outhouse here anymore, but he spun down, crashed in the inside retaining wall. There was a Porta-John down there. Kanaan hit it. If memory serves, it was occupied, wasn't it?
Yes, I think it was a Marshall that was in there, actually.
But anyway, poor Kanaan hits the inside wall, turns over the outhouse. There's a guy in the outhouse. It was a big mess and a really, really bad day for the guy that was in the facility. But be that as it may, Mark Cohn is going to lead him off, and he is already on the loud pedal. Mark Cohn has got this field by the tail. He's going to lead him into turn number 1. Stouffer, Wagner, Rigney, and Brubaker give chase. And that is Lith Fox way up on the high side. He's going to try to take Hugo Galez, and they are 3 wide in the back there with Andrew Surawak. Everybody takes evasive action and gets back straightened out, but Lith Fox, a power move. He went from about 11th to 7th in one swoop as Mark Cohn leads them away.
Yeah, Cohn's going to have a distinctive advantage over a lot of the other runners in the field being out up front because he has clean air. Like, he doesn't have any understeer to fight through the corners, and he's going to be able to keep his foot down longer than most of the other guys.
Yes, he does. One of the ways that you combat that, and we're on board Lith Fox, he goes past Jari Brubaker and is going to start chasing down Daniel Durazo. Daniel the Cat runs 5th. But look, one of the ways you combat that is you just go higher than everybody else. That's what Lith Fox is doing, and Lith Fox making up time. Lith Fox started this race in 11th spot up to 6th, so 5 positions made on just that restart. Speaking of Tony Kanaan, those are Kanaan-like moves out there, Ryan.
Yeah, and it's when you're in a position that you get into this track, you do have to, fight for every second out on track.
Yes, you most certainly do. And the reason is you don't want those tires to get hot. It gets extremely greasy and very difficult to pass here when these tires get overheated, and you are going to work the absolute mess out of either the right front or the right rear, depending on how you score it. We're watching the leader, Mark Cohn, Chris Stoffert second, Matt Wagner third, Mike Rigney fourth, Daniel the Cat fifth. They are all just about half a second to 0.6 apart from each other. Lith Fox is in sixth. That Fox has his charge has abated. Andrew Surwack and Yari Brubaker seventh and eighth. That is the closest battle on the track. And Surwack, he'll drive the Gatorade car to the bottom of veteran Yari Brubaker, and he'll make that pass. Move Surwack to seventh, Brubaker back to eighth, Ryan.
Yeah, and that's sort of like the textbook move you see around New Hampshire to get a spot, because while there isn't a lot of room on the outside, it's certainly a shorter way around on the inside. You just don't want to be there for long.
You most certainly don't. This track is very unique in that, well, it's not unique in the real world, but it's unique in the scan of the track that this scan has the PJ1 down on the surface, does it not, Ryan?
It does, and I absolutely hate it.
It does. So what we're talking about is you see if the fans at home see the shaded area at the top that's darker, that is PJ1. That's the sticky stuff, the goop that they put on NASCAR tracks to make the stock cars grip up and give them an extra lane to race in. It does not agree very well with IndyCar tires. Now in the sim, we can use it. If this was real, we can use it, although it is less effective as the tires wear. In real life, that would be like driving on ice. That would be a no-go, and that's the reason that we don't go to Texas anymore. But well, one of the reasons we don't go to Texas anymore. But that stuff is very, very slick on old tires, Ryan. There used to be, and it's setup dependent, but there used to be, as we hop on board, we're going to jump on board with Mike Rigney. There used to be a bump at the exit of turn number 4, and if you hit that bump in concert with the PJ1 and the tires were the wrong temperature, you'll just loop it, and there's not really much you can do to stop it.
Yeah, it's like, and ideally you just
right about
sort of
there.
Loop it in a straight. Yeah, right about there, and you'd loop it hopefully in a straight line down the front straight. But if you didn't catch it, you were effectively just going to loop yourself right into the pit wall.
Yeah, it's a very disconcerting thing. It's happened to pretty much everybody that's run these cars for a long period of time on the oval. Just somewhere about lap 15 to 25 in a run, tire pressures and heat plus the PJ1, they all hit exactly the right spot. And the line that you took the lap before all of a sudden has you backwards sliding toward the pit wall, and all you're doing is standing on the gas and trying to avoid a big impact. But we're riding on board with Mike Rigney. He is trying to chase down Matt Wagner. Wag's trying to get after Chris Stoffert. Mark Cohn is your leader, and he has absolutely checked out. There's Cohn. He's built a 1.8 second lead.
It's just slowly just making the gap larger and larger over time, and the chasers, they don't have a response.
No, it's very difficult to have a response here because once the tires get hot, Ryan, you run out of grip, and it becomes very, very, very difficult to follow in the wake of another car. That envelope is about 1.8 seconds to not feel the dirty air. You don't feel the dirty air. The flip side of that is you don't feel the draft, and Chris Stoffert has lost those things. Matt Wagner, he's about half a second behind Stoffert, and there's where those two run. And they've got Mike Rigney right there, too. He's fourth. Daniel the Cat is fifth. They are all about equidistant. The best battle on the track, that's Jacob Wilson and Hugo Gallas. This is back for 11th and 12th. Gallas has 11th. Jacob Wilson wants it, and he fires that car down to the inside, trying to get 11th away from Hugo. Now, there's a study in two very different lines, Ryan. Hugo Gallas all the way up near the top line. You see him get a little bit wiggly. Jacob Wilson is all the way on the bottom, or he has been. Now they make a liar out of me. Hugo tightens it down in 3 and 4. Wilson comes up a little bit, but Jacob Wilson has been running the very bottom of recent. There he goes. That's about as low as you want to go, isn't it?
All right, man.
Caution.
Yeah,
Andrew
anything
Surowac.
lower up.
Andrew Surowac hard into the inside wall. And that's going to be right rear cooked or too much weight jacker. It looks like to me Andrew Surowac just lost that car. He almost lost it coming off of turn 4, and then it finally goes away coming off of turn number 2.
Yeah, because that's the tempting part where you could always put extra click on the weight jacker, try to get the car to corner better so you can run a bit lower. And it does make a significant difference in your lap time, but it will cook your tires in an instant.
Yeah, and these flat miles, and there is some banking here, but they are essentially flat. And there goes Surowac right at the apex and just loops him around. And here comes Andrew Surowac. He's going to come down to the inside wall, and he's going to have a pretty hard lick right there. Nose first. It appears as though he just hit on the nose. It might not have done any suspension damage. So if Andrew can get that car back to the pit lane, he will be able to effect the fast repair. And there he is. Mark Cohn has led the entire field onto the pit lane. Is he going to win the race off? He is not. Chris Stouffer is going to nab Mark Cohn at the line, I think. That was awfully close, Ryan.
Yeah, that was real close. I'd have to look at a replay to be sure who got out ahead.
It all depends. Sometimes the scoring loop is not where the timing line is, and so we're going to have to go back and have a look. Here we go. We're gonna see Mark Cohn. Mark Cohn got there just by the skinniest of margins. If that line, Ryan, was another 2 feet down the road, Chris Stouffer would be your leader.
Oof.
And fans at home will ask, well, how does that happen? Mark Cohn came in as the leader. He was the first into the pit. He was the first into his pit box. 8.9 seconds in the pit lane for Cohn, 7.9 for Stouffer, Wagner, and Rigney. And so that tells me one of two things. Mark Cohn could have either missed his pit box by just a little bit. In the sim, if you miss your marks, that takes extra time, right, Ryan? The guys have to drag the tires over, so forth, just like real life. Either that or he was burning a lot more fuel and had to take more gas.
Yeah, it seemed like it could be a combination of both.
Green flag, green flag.
Could be. Whatever for Cohn, he is the leader as we get back to the line. Barney has the green flag in the air, and we are off one more time here at New Hampshire. 27 of 142 complete here in the Horizon IndyCar Series live from New Hampshire. It's round 6. Do want to thank everybody for tuning us in. If you haven't already done so, make sure you smash the like button on the video, ring the bell so that you can subscribe and be notified of all future P1 events. And we got some big ones coming up. You headed for Chicago, Ryan? We're gonna see the wreck. Whoa, hard wreck, Yari Brubaker.
Oh no!
That is Nate Fields, end over end. They've also collected Turner Johnson. Hard impact. And that is 3 cars that are going to be out of this race. And we can see what happened. Turner Johnson, Yari Brubaker got together in turn number 1. Brubaker and Johnson hard in the wall. Nate Fields was on the outside of Alex Miller. He doesn't have anywhere to go. Clips the rear of Turner Johnson. And he takes a wild tumble through the exit of turn number 2. It'll come to rest on its 4 wheels, maybe. Does he stick the landing, Ryan? He got it. 6.75 from the East German judge on that racket. Andrew Surwack also continues to hold the meatball, and he is on the pit lane under repair. Turner Johnson, Nate Fields, Yari Brubaker are your latest victims. Nate Fields is bringing his wounded machine down the pit lane. Brubaker was forced to tow. Turner Johnson has already affected the fast repair, and so he is going to get back out one lap down. Alex Miller has also gone a lap down, but he will get his lap back via the wave run, and there goes Alex. And so after 30 of 142 laps, Mark Cohn is your leader. Chris Stouffer is second. Matt Wagner is third. Speaking of that, speaking of big events coming, you headed for the Sim Gaming Expo in Chicago, Ryan?
Unfortunately not. I can't make it.
Man, I'll tell you what, I got a package, and thank you so much for tuning us in. Visible to all YouTube. You visible to all users on YouTube. You're tired and you want to go. You're tired, but you want to watch. I'm pretty whipped too. But this is fixing to get good. I have a feeling. 92 laps yet to go. We are under our second caution of the day. We're gonna have Hugo Gallas and Joseph Morales hit pit road in the back, and that's no doubt just to top up the fuel. Why not? They're already in the back anyway. We're gonna have some big time action over there. I feel like we're official. Package came in the mail yesterday, Ryan. I got a P1 shirt on. How about that?
Damn.
I think Gary Gatso's got some hats, some stickers, some pins for the people. He's going to be calling, him and Matt Wagner are going to be calling the Sim Gaming Expo Open Wheel Challenge. They've very smartly kicked me out of the booth for that one, Ryan. They're going to put me in a rig and make me race it. So I'm looking forward to that. Mark Cohn is going to be in that field. And I understand that we're going to have a Christopher Demerit sighting too. Been a while since we've seen Chris in one of these things.
Green flag, green flag.
Yeah, that'd be a real interesting race to watch.
Well, the road courses will be really interesting as we head back to green. Mark Cohn gets the jump and he heads back out to set sail on Chris Stouffer. The problem for Cohn isn't that he didn't get in the lead. He got the lead. Here's the problem for Cohn. Yari Brubaker is up ahead. Brubaker is 2 laps in arrears, but that is not what Mark Cohn wants to see. That's going to give Chris Stouffer a chance, and probably maybe his best and only chance to get by Mark Cohn, to get the lead here.
Ooh, it's getting pretty testy for this spot.
Yes, it is.
Okay, clear the car.
Mark Cohn is going to clear Yari Brubaker, and now Cohn is saying, Yari, I want you to race Chris Stouffer just as hard as you just raced me, so that he can build a gap. Stouffer is going to dive to the bottom of Yari Brubaker. There he goes. Meanwhile, a little bit further back, Lith Fox has made it past Daniel the Cat, and there's Lith. He's looking forward to Mike Rigney. Rigney is kind of stuck behind Wagner in this fight now with the lap car of Brubaker. Brubaker slipped back into the clutches of Matty Wagner, and we'll see where he kind of levels out and what effect that has on the field. It did allow Mark Cohn to open up a 0.6 of a second gap, now 0.7 over Chris Stouffer. Watching Matty Wagner work on Yari Brubaker. We are 36 laps into a 142 lap affair here at New Hampshire. Andrew Surwack has spun on the pit lane. That will not bring out a caution. Wagner gets through Yari Brubaker. Mike Rigney is going to make the dive as well. And so the front 4 are through and clean. That's going to, then there's a bit of a gap back to Lith Fox. Lith Fox has a rearview mirror full of Daniel Durazo. And how about Gary Lovern? Ryan, Gary Lovern has worked his way into 7th.
Yeah, and it's like sort of in that position of being able to make up spots and just survive the incidents we've seen so far.
And sometimes that's the name of the game: survive and advance. Sometimes you don't have, the best car. Sometimes you don't have, sometimes you don't have the speed. I've been in that position before too, but it's a championship. They pay the money at the end, and so, in reality, Ryan, if you can survive, get a nice top 5, top 10 finish, survive and advance, that can prove to be handy later on down the line. Lith Fox is very slow on the bottom of the speedway. Lith Fox gets out of the way, but he is going to fall all the way back to 8th. That's going to give Alex Miller 7th. That's 3-time winner Alex Miller 7th. Lith Fox is going to drop to 8th. Ryan, can you give us any more information on what might have happened to Lith Fox there?
So Liv said over the radio that he just thinks that he just disconnected briefly.
So he dropped to the bottom there to make sure he didn't affect anybody else, and that's a sporting move from Lith Fox, but it is going to lose him 4 spots. He's going to drop from 5th back to 8th, and so Lith Fox is going to have to charge back through the field. Matt Wagner awfully high coming off of turn 4. Now that puff of smoke that you see, Ryan, that's not necessarily contact with a wall. That could be a little bit of net code, but just like life, if you get up there too close to the wall, you can make the dust fly, can you not?
Yeah, and it gets a bit scary when you're in your rig and you see it in your mirrors.
Not only that, but it gets kind of scary when you see the guy in front of you do it too. You're not quite sure if contact was made, if the car in front of you is injured, if you need to dodge and try to get out of the way because he's going to crash. It's a very disconcerting moment when those things happen and you're in the simulation. Here goes Lith Fox. He's going to make the dive on the Turner Johnson automobile. Johnson is a lap down. He's sitting in the lucky dog spot in 12th. Lith Fox is going to try to make the move to the bottom and see if he can't get past Turner Johnson so he can go fight with Alex Miller and try to gain back some of that lost time.
All right, man.
Caution.
Caution.
And it's Andrew Surowack. Andrew Surowack has tagged the outside wall in turns 1 and 2 one more time. Here's Surowack. There he is, down to he's pretty low. He's got the left sides all the way down in lane number 1. And again, Ryan, back in, breaks loose, around she goes. And that's almost a carbon copy of his first spin. This time, though, he tank slappers the outside wall instead of sliding nose first into the inside.
Yeah, and with the fast repair gone, that's probably day done.
Yeah, Andrew Surowack is already disconnected from the server, and so he will not be among the finishers tonight. He will get credit for 15th place. Caution is on the speedway. Do want to thank everybody for watching coverage of the Horizon IndyCar Series on the P1 Broadcasting channel. If you haven't already done it, please do make sure you smash the like button on the video, ring the bell, and subscribe. We definitely do appreciate that. We're up over 1,300 subs now, Ryan. That's a pretty doggone big number. So we see pit stops have come and gone. Mike Rigney came to pit lane, as did Gary Lover and Alex Miller. Turner Johnson is being given the wave around. And so talk about, Ryan, a little bit about why Mike Rigney and Gary Lover and Alex Miller, why they might have stopped there. It's not in the window, we don't think. But why might they have stopped?
I'd probably put it down to just attrition. You don't know when the next caution is going to come out, and we've already lost a significant number of cars, so we could just maybe go green the rest of the way. You don't know. So you want to make sure that this stint is as long as possible.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So the leaders have been out 22 laps. So essentially, these cars here are going to be able to go for a half stint longer. If a caution should fly after those leaders have pitted, and before Mike Rigney has come to get service, Mike Rigney is going to be your leader by a lap. Gary Lovren and Alex Miller would share that lap, and that would be the worst kind of luck, and knock on wood, and we hope that nobody has bad luck here, but that would be the worst kind of luck for somebody like Mark Cohn or Chris Stouffer as we get ready to head back to green flag action. The lights are off on the pace car, Ryan. That 39 has looked awful stout. He has not been headed in 47 laps here tonight at New Hampshire.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how long Cone can hold on to this lead.
We're about to find out. Barney throws the green flag at him. We are right back to green flag action. That is Jacob Wilson. He is all over the bottom trying to get toward the front, and he's made it up to 6th position. That's the black car on the bottom of Hugo Galez there. Looking in the background for Jacob Wilson. He's on the charge. Mike Rigney is battling as well. He's back there looking at Alex Miller. There's the Alex Miller machine. Mike Rigney is in all sorts of trouble, though. Gary Lovren goes past. Turner Johnson goes past. Nate Fields goes past. And I don't know that Rigney just didn't have some contact with the outside retaining wall there, Ryan. That car is definitely not on song, and so we'll keep an eye on Mike Rigney and his lap times as he navigates the New Hampshire Speedway. Back at the front, Chris Stouffer has basically his best chance now at getting to Mark Cone. Stouffer cannot reel in that very rapid number 39 machine, and Matt Wagner is under fire from Daniel the Cat as well for 3rd. Front 3, Ryan, have spaced themselves out. Front 4, they've got about a 1.5 seconds over Lith Fox, and then there's another second back to Hugo Galez, and Hugo has a mirror full of Jacob Wilson. Jacob Wilson on the charge. He momentarily had passed Hugo Galez on the bottom, and then wasn't able to complete the pass. But that's something you kind of have to do with these 1 mile ovals. It's difficult to pass. Starts, restarts, cold tires. Those are areas where you got to make hay when the sun is shining.
Yeah, it sort of encourages that early stint aggression where position gain to here is easier than any other point.
Yeah, it most certainly is. We've seen how difficult it can be to pass once these tires have heated up. I do want to go back and check in. Mike Rigney had to have, and you see it. You can see the left front wing on Rigney's Dallara is slightly askew, Ryan. And so that's the reason that he's fallen off the pace. He is running around here about a 1.5 seconds slower than Mark Cone. And so Rigney's going to have to be careful. He may go down a lap if it stays like this too much longer. He may need to come to the pit lane just a little bit early, as soon as the window opens.
Yeah, as soon as that window opens, just get in there.
And that's what you got to do. Watching Jacob Wilson, he is trying to work in on Hugo Galez. Jacob Wilson in that beautiful purple, black, and teal machine, I might add. He is looking at Hugo Galez, and he is looking hard for that 6th spot. And there's Hugo. There's Hugo. He is on the outside. Hugo Galez in the familiar copper-colored Velocity Online racing machine for Altoona Autosport. Jacob Wilson is on the bottom. And Wilson, he's been pretty committed to that bottom, Ryan. Let's see if he can make this move stick here. Also do want to point out that Matt Wagner has made it by Chris Stouffer, and Daniel the Cat Durazo is looking to move up into a points-paying position. So this would be a battle for 3rd as well. We'll keep an eye on Hugo and Jacob Wilson. That battle has abated. Wilson aborts the attempt on the bottom, but Daniel the Cat, given the grizzled veteran Chris Stouffer, all he wants on the top.
Yeah. And Durazo, they're just hanging side by side. It seems like every corner exit Durazo, I think this might be the time he actually pulls clear, and he does.
He does. Clear driver clear, and that's going to bring Lith Fox into the action. Lith Fox. Mark Cohn is in the wall. Mark Cohn hard in the outside wall. He has a right front suspension broken. Cohn is going to bring his car to the pit lane. Mark Cohn has led every lap so far in this race. Trouble for the number 39. And here's what happens. Big news for the number 39 machine of Mark Cohn. He's got the lapped car of Mike Rigney in front of him. And here's Cohn. He goes to the bottom, and I don't think he realizes that, they make contact. I don't think he realized how badly Rigney was hurt and misjudged the closing speed, got in the back of Mike Rigney, hard in the outside wall for Mark Cohn. He's going to be able to come in, get his fast repair. He's going to be a lap down and close to 2. But this is where Mark Cohn just needs to keep his wits about him. He knows he's got the fastest piece here. He's going to be in relatively clean air. Keep your wits about you, brother. Drive on. It's going to be a couple more stops for everybody, so that may not hurt him all too bad as long as everything cycles through, Ryan.
As long as everything cycles through, looking at the result sheet, like, not the first car lap down, so a caution won't help quite yet, because as we've seen in that incident, just because we have fewer cars does not mean that incidents are not possible.
Well, speaking of incidents, we've had another. Jacob Wilson battling to the bottom of Hugo Gallows. He has made hard contact with the inside retaining wall, and Jacob Wilson is now on pit lane as well. So that attrition bug is starting to rear its ugly head. But for Mark Cohn, that's great news because the caution does not fly. Here's the incident for Jacob Wilson. He's got Gallows to the outside. He is on the bottom, and I would suspect they're a little bit too far away for contact here, Ryan. I suspect that the back end is going to snap around on that number 51 machine on the bottom. No, it doesn't. It's some crazy bad netcode there. And Jacob Wilson goes hard on the inside wall, but he crashes down on the apron and down onto the road course, and we'll talk about that road course here in just a little bit. And so it's off the racing surface. No caution. We keep on going. Alex Miller now battles to the outside of Gary Lovern. Lovern to the bottom, Miller to the top. And this is what Mark Cohn does not want to see. The Watchman wants to see, and we call him the Watchman for his collection of watches. Mark Cohn wants to see this baby stay green as absolutely long as possible, Ryan. And there's Cohn.
Yeah.
He's already pulled up on the back of Joseph Morales. This is not for position, but he's pulled up on the back of Morales, and he's trying to He's going to try to navigate around. Mike Rigney has pulled in. He did not take the fast repair, but he did fix the front wing. He is 2 laps down. Morales is going to get out of the way of Cohn. Cohn is going to move past Morales again, not for position. But Cohn is desperately trying to chase down this man. That is Nate Fields. Nate Fields runs along in 10th. He's a lap down. He is about 4.6 seconds ahead of Mark Cohn. Fields also has 22 laps on his fuel tank. Speaking of fuel, we are 45 laps out on this run, and so it should be any time for Matt Wagner, Daniel Durazo, Lith Fox, Chris Stouffer. They are the cars that have been out the longest. Hugo Gallows has been out 39 laps. Alex Miller, Gary Lovern, Turner Johnson, Joseph Morales, and Nate Fields, all 24 and 23 laps respectively. So for these leaders, it's getting to be just about time to pull it down pit lane, put some gas and tires in those cars, and get going.
Yeah, because I think we're at a point where, in terms of looking ahead to the finish, it doesn't really matter when you stop because everyone's going to have to come in one more time.
Yes, they most certainly are. Best battle on the track is for the lead, and that's what we're watching. It is Matt Wagner, your leader. Daniel the Cat Durazo is second. We do have community luminaries like Kyle Clinworth and my broadcast partner on Monday nights. And I can't talk. The other Jacob, right? And so they are arguing that Ryan, that the road course here at Jacob Collins, that was the name that was escaping me. I spend 2 hours with him every Monday, Ryan. You'd think I'd know his name by now. Anyway, Jacob Collins is positing that the road course here at New Hampshire is perhaps one of, if not the best roval that is available in the service. And Jacob, I tend to agree with you. I was telling Ryan, I was lobbying Ryan at the beginning of at the top of the show before we got on the air. I think we should bring the big cars here and run the roval in the Indy cars. I think that would be absolutely fantastic. Ryan Eric King thinks I'm crazy, but I do truly enjoy. Do truly enjoy the roval here at New Hampshire. Not the hiccups. If you're looking for where the roval is, you can kind of see it in some of these shots. You come down into the backstretch. There's a 90-degree corner that leads you outside, and then there is a loop that goes around through the hills that surround this facility, and then you come back onto the backstretch and go back around the oval. It's a fun little course, Ryan, isn't it?
Yeah, like admittedly, I've only ever driven it in the MX-5 Cup car. I've not driven an open wheeler around here. I could not imagine having an IndyCar at full tilt on the roval.
You know, it's an interesting time. I have not driven an IndyCar on the roval at full tilt. I have driven here in F2000 and US F2000 Pro for various times, because those cars do come here as a matter of course. F2000 before it kind of got elbowed out in favor of F4 was kind of the bottom rung D-class car in the sim, and it was nice because it would go to 3 or 4 ovals in a season, so you could advance in license with just that one car, both oval and road, before the Formula license existed. And so a lot of people used to run that car. Now that's kind of fractured with F3, F4, and so forth, and so it doesn't see as much participation. But that was a fun situation, and I agree, Jacob Collins. USF 2000 is an absolute riot here. I do enjoy it. I've actually thought about going back and just running that series full time, Ryan. Maybe I'll finally learn how to road race. What do you think?
I mean, yeah, with a full season under your belt, you'll definitely get good at it.
Well, I had 3 full seasons under my belt before I came here, and I'm not good at it still. So more seasons.
Oh, dear.
More seasons are on order. Matt Wagner continues to lead at 56 laps, 57 now on his current run. And that begs the question, Ryan, he's getting in the range of being able to do this on one more stop.
And if that's the case.
If that's the case, Mark Cohn would be in trouble. Speaking of Cohn, he has gotten past Nate Fields. Problematic for him is that Joseph Morales has now gone a lap down. The good news for Cohn is he's something like 0.6 of a lap quicker than Joseph Morales. The bad news is he's about half a lap behind him. So he's going to have to pass Joseph Morales again for position, and that's kind of the thing. As fast as Cohn is, it's going to be very difficult to get into that lucky dog spot because you've got cars like Turner Johnson, Chris Stouffer. Those cars are getting close to being a lap down themselves. Turner Johnson, 14 seconds behind the leader. He's 2/3 of the way back. He's 2/3 of the way back to the leader. Now, admittedly, Matt Wagner and Daniel Durazo are going to be due in any lap, and when they pit, Ryan, it's going to let Cohn, Morales, and Fields back on the lead lap, albeit until they make their final pit stops.
Yeah, it's sort of that position where, not that they're going to hope in that gap that a caution comes out, but if it does come out when they're on the lead lap, that'd be the most beneficial situation.
Yes, it would. And here comes Mark Cohn. He's going to try to unlap himself from Turner Johnson and Chris Stouffer. got to be a little bit of red mist behind the helmet of that 39. Easily leading the race. Tough situation. Mark Cohn involved in an accident. Clindy wants to know if Christopher has damage. I don't see anything. Ryan, do you see any damage on that automobile? Has he said anything? We'll get a closer view for our people at home.
He hasn't said anything, and it's one of those cases where the wings and the side pods are visibly okay, but there could always be floor damage.
Yeah, and that's the thing, and it's really difficult. I don't see anything on Christopher's car. He's going to bring it to pit lane, and so he must feel as though he is in range of being able to make this be his final stop. We'll let you know what happens with Christopher if he takes the fast repair or if there's any repair. Looking at Daniel the Cat and Matt Wagner, they still lead the show here. Matty Wagner working lap 64 of his current run. Same for Drazzo and same for Lith Fox. Lith Fox has moved into third place, and Fox is the fastest of that leading trio as Wagner peels it to pit lane. To answer the question, Clindy, Christopher took his fast repairs, so that tells me that he had damage, Ryan.
Oh, yes, it does.
So it would have been floor damage and not visible. And that's the worst kind, because you can't, without a fast repair, you can't really fix that either. Lith Fox is going to get around as Drazzo comes to pit lane. Lith Fox is going to assume the lead here, albeit briefly. We would expect Lith Fox to hit pit lane at any moment. Stouffer is going to go around Lith Fox here to get back to one lap down, but Fox is going to come in, and that means that Hugo Gallas is going to assume the lead. Here comes Hugo. Matt Wagner is the first car a lap down, so Cohn still has not gotten back to that lucky dog spot, although he is on the same lap as Wags. Gallas is going to go around one more time, and once that all filters through, the lead of this race, and here comes Gallas, leader of this race, that's going to go to three-time winner Alex Miller. Now, Miller is going to have to pit here sometime within the next 10 to 12 laps, we would think, Ryan. But it'll be a short fill for Alex Miller. Gary Lovern, Turner Johnson are on that same strategy, as is Joseph Morales. And that will cycle everything back through to Matty Wagner once it happens in about 10 to 12 laps time, Ryan. We do have...
And it's going to be an important dozen-lap window.
It is. Lith Fox, unfortunately, was about a second and a half slow in the pit lane. We've got word in the chat, Ryan, too far forward in the pit box. Cost him a second and a half. But there's Lith Fox. He maintained his position on the lead lap, though, which is critical because Mark Cohn now is the first car a lap down. So if caution were to come out, Mark Cohn, he's had the fastest car all night, led a ton. Unfortunate incident forced him to the pit lane and fast repair, an unscheduled stop. But Mark Cohn is finally back in the position that if something happens within the next 30 laps or so, he would be the beneficiary. And I don't know that Cohn could be able to make the end of this race, depending on how he's got the fuel set up. There are 36, well, no, he wouldn't be able to make it. He'd have to have the save of all saves, Ryan. But he was only like 10 laps short of being able to make it. The other thing that's happened here is that Daniel the Cat has gotten past Matty Wagner in the pit stop cycle.
Oh.
The other thing is that those two have made their what I would assume would be their final stops. And so if caution comes out, those two are not going to stop. Would be my guess, Ryan. They would just assume the lead cycle to the front.
All right, man. Caution.
And there's the caution, Joseph Morales. Joseph Morales has looped it in turn number 4. I don't think he hit anything, Ryan. The car seems to be intact. But that's the golden yellow that Mark Cohn was looking for. That's going to put him back on the lead lap. And Lith Fox has the meatball. So let's see what's happened here. Morales spins on his own. And there's Joseph going around. That is a good looking chrome red car. And Lith Fox goes high to avoid and smacks that outside retaining wall. A tough break for Lith Fox. The good news for Lith is that he is on the lead lap, and so he'll be able to come back in and effect fast repair. And Clindy is absolutely right. There is life for Cohn. There's life for Alex Miller. There is now life for Gary Lovern, Turner Johnson. All of those cars have been granted a reprieve. And here comes Alex Miller. Lith Fox is already on pit lane. Fox is going to lose that lap on pit lane. Mark Cohn did not pit. He is going to take the wave around. He'll go back. He'll come in and make his pit stop this time through. And it's going to be interesting to see if Mark Cohn, because he's going to have to line up, Ryan, by virtue of taking that lucky dog, he's going to have to line up tail end Charlie here behind all the lap cars even. And we know he needs gas. He's going to have to stop.
Yeah, it's sort of picking your spot of when to come in.
Well, there's no picking it. He's going to have to hit pit road. He's been out 39 laps. There's no way he can make it another 42, and so Mark Cohn is going to have to stop. And here he comes down the pit lane. Even if it's a closed pit, it's just going to put you at the tail end of the longest line where he's going anyway. So no big deal there. We see Christopher. He's going to come in and grab service. Black flags are lighting up for a lot of guys here. Although, to be fair, I'm sure that those are for passing cars under yellow. Those will get waived, is my guess. But there's Cohn, your early leader. Mark Cohn has led 59 of 101 laps. So he has still led the majority of this race. Unfortunately, again, caught up in an accident with a lap vehicle, unscheduled stop, lap down. He catches the lucky dog. That is a fast car. Do you think he can pass the entire field in 41 laps, Ryan?
Well, 41 laps. I'd say it depends on the number of cautions we see before the end.
You know, it is going to depend. The pace car is in. Green flag is back out. Mike Rigney pulls all the way to the bottom. And we're going to keep an eye on that Rapid 39 machine. Christopher does have a black flag. We'll await word to see if that gets cleared. Meanwhile, the battle is at the back. Mark Cohn has cleared all the way up through Lith Fox. So he has passed 6 cars already. There's only 14 out there circulating, Ryan. So he's already passed almost half of the remaining automobiles, has not gained a lap, has not gained a position as yet. He's still scored in 7th. He's going to work to the bottom. Now he's got Hugo Gallas and Turner Johnson lined up. Let's see if the Watchman can get 2 for 1 here. Hugo Gallas spins off the nose of Mark Cohn, hard in the wall. Hugo Gallas. And I don't know if that was actually contact or if it was netcode. But those 2 cars definitely came together at some level. And let's see what we've got here.
In my view, it looks like a netcode, but it's to an understandable degree.
Yeah, that's definitely a lot of netcode there. You could see the car from Hugo Gallas kick loose with a good 2 or 3 feet between them, and that's always a danger of racing Indy cars in the sim. They're so much faster than the underlying programming, which is based around NASCAR, that even with the super fast fiber optic internet connections and so forth, you can get some netcode. Servers blink. You can see it occasionally in the broadcast. That's the nature of internet gaming. Alex Miller just hit the wall under yellow.
Oh dear.
We're going to have to go back and watch that. Alex Miller just tagged the outside wall under yellow. Here he is. And if you're Gary Lovern, how do you like to be watching this? Coming off of turn number 4, you're under yellow. Alex Miller just goes up and smacks the outside wall. I wonder what happened there. An equipment failure maybe or something. Looked away. If it was me, it could have, back in my younger days, Ryan, it could have been me looking down to light a cigarette under yellow. Whatever happened, Alex Miller hit that wall a ton. Ryan, he hit that thing hard there.
Yeah, I'm surprised that his car has to have some form of suspension damage, right? Like,
I would think that rainbow-hued machine does have some sort of damage. We'll see. He does have his fast repair left, and he is not bringing it to pit road. Now, in iRacing, Ryan, drivers, as you know, you can map a button, and it'll tell you if there's damage and whether or not it is fixable. And so it may be telling him, yes, you have damage. No, we can't fix it. And so he's choosing to stay out. Do want to note that as we've been following it, Mark Cohn is 7 cars back from the leader. And so he is 6th on the track. Jari Brubaker is the black, purple, and yellow machine in that line. He is not on the lead lap as we get back to 35 laps to go. But he's halfway back, Ryan, and he got the caution, as Dirty Quai says. The Dreamers Hotel is 5 stars. It's open. I think you might have an occupant. Mark Cohn may be coming back through here, and so is Lift Fox. Those have been 2 fast cars. We're going to keep an eye on them, and we're going to keep an eye on this restart because this is fixing to get good. Daniel the Cat's going to get the jump. He'll lead him away. Wagner gets his jump. We're going to keep an eye on Alex Miller because we think that car may be unhealthy headed down into turn number 1. It looks okay. He's holding off the charge from Gary Lovern so far, Ryan. It doesn't help that it's blinking either, does it?
What's not help at all?
That does not help matters. Lith Fox has gone past Mark Cohn. Cohn did not get a good restart. And Christopher now heads to the outside. Turner Johnson has gotten past, and so Cohn has a little bit more work to do. He's going to fight back to the inside of Stouffer. Stouffer is going to go to the inside of Turner Johnson. We are almost 3 wide at New Hampshire. And Ryan, that is not going to work if they keep that up.
Cohn is desperate to get around him.
Yes, he most certainly is. And he knows, I mean, that's got to be so frustrating. He knows that he's got a fast car. He knows that he can get up there. But Daniel Durazo, with the clean air, also knows that with the clean air comes the privilege of having the fastest lap. Daniel the Cat has started to draw away from Matt Wagner, 0.3 of a second. Alex Miller has held on to third. Gary Lovern unable to pounce on what could be a wounded number 49. Lith Fox is now up to 5th. Caution is on the speedway, and that's going to be Nate Fields. He has backed it into the wall in turn 2.
Oof. And we get to bunch them all up and do it all over again.
Yeah, there it is. You see him just hard into that outside wall. That same kind of an accident. We're going to poll the audience, Ryan. This is something that we can do. Is this going to be the final caution? Make your bets in the chat, folks. Are we done seeing the yellow light so far? It is a unanimous no. We are not. The problem for Nate Fields, by the way, Ryan, is he does not have any more fast repairs, and so that's likely going to be night over, and Fields, if that's the case, would be credited with the 14th position. Still everybody a no. Make your bets. Are we done seeing the yellow light with 29 coming to get 28 laps to go? Would love to see everybody's thoughts before we head into the final stretch of this race. Cone was unable to make progress on that last restart. Kind of got checked up, lost his momentum. Stouffer and Lith Fox made it past, and it's Lith Fox, who occupies the room in the Dream Motel. Ryan, he's coming to the front.
And it feels like it's now or never.
It's going to have to be Daniel Durazo doing the thing that drives Gary Godso insane. He's hiding inside the pace car. That's a Mark Murphy certified move right there. Gotta love to see that. What people may not realize about our good friend the pace car, he is hollow, Ryan. And so it is hollow in there, and it is not. I'm trying to see if I can't get a decent. Let's see if we can't get in the pace car. It's not gonna let us in. Let's see. There you go. There's there we are, riding in the pace car. But we need to get away from the pace car because we're about ready to go back to a green flag action. Can Daniel the Cat hold it for 28 more laps? The audience says we are not done seeing cautions, Ryan. And here we go, 27 to go. The challenge is not at the front. The challenge is for third. Gary Lovern is now all over what we believe to be a slightly wounded car. What we believe to be a slightly wounded car for Alex Miller. But Miller's going to kind of get bailed out here, Ryan. Lith Fox now pulls up on the gearbox of Gary Lovern.
Yeah, it is a melee back here for the most part.
It is. Mark Cohn disposes of Jari Brubaker, and so from 3rd through 7th, everybody is in touch. Lith Fox is going to make that pass stick. Woo-hoo-hoo! On Gary Lovern. What a pass that was. Gary Lovern drops back to 5th. Move Lith Fox to 4th, and he is coming hard after Alex Miller for the bottom rung of that podium. Lith Fox is on the charge. Looking a little bit further back. Cone and Stouffer are racing hard. Now Stouffer's going to try to pull up on Gary Lovern. See the pass for 5th here. Stouffer just can't quite get it in there. Lovern, I think, kind of learned his lesson, Ryan. He moved down just about half a lane after Lith Fox went under him, and that's going to make it pretty tough on old Stouffer to get by him.
That just reduce the amount of space people have to dive under you. Because again, you can't use the bottom lane. There's no grip down there.
No, there isn't. And so the way you're going to have to do it is you're going to have to try to build momentum on the high side, maybe pull the over under. Lith Fox dives to the inside of the Alex Miller machine, and let's move Lith Fox up to 3rd. That is a change for the podium positions. Daniel Durazo, the Cat, just set the fastest lap. 22.063. That was 4/10 quicker than Matt Wagner that last time through, Ryan. And with 20 laps to go now, do want to thank everybody for tuning it in. Tuning us in here at P1 Broadcasting. You're watching the Horizon IndyCar Series live from the New Hampshire Speedway, right now, you've got Daniel Durazo leading. Matt Wagner is second. They are firmly ensconced in their positions. The battle is for third, fourth, fifth, and sixth. We're going to get back to the battle for fifth. That is Chris Stouffer all over the back of Gary Lovern. They've got Mark Cohn creeping into the picture. Cohn was your early leader, and he will be credited with leading the most laps here tonight. But that's kind of where the race lies right now with 19 laps to go. If you haven't already done it, make sure you smash the like button on the video, ring the bell, subscribe to the P1 Broadcasting channel, be notified of all future iRacing events. This is the time slot, by the way, Ryan, that we are going to have the championship finale for the Indy Open Series next week, with the Open Series on Labor Day Monday. There are a couple of regular competitors that cannot make it, and so we're going to decide the championship at Road Atlanta in that series on Wednesday at 8 o'clock. Jacob Collins and I will be on the call. That ought to be fun. We have already done the fixed oval champion by then. They're going to race as normal on Tuesday. So you ready for that? You ready for that fun and excitement? Indy cars at Road Atlanta.
Yeah, I can tell you from personal experience, it's a pretty fun racetrack.
You know, that's one place that I wish they would go. I know why they don't, but I really wish that that the powers that be would find a way to make that place safe for open wheelers, because it is an absolutely awesome place to race. The same with Mossport, really. If you could make those tracks safe without destroying them and putting in a bunch of chicanes, let's take the Indy cars there. I know it's probably cost prohibitive, but it sure would be nice as we watch Chris Stouffer work to the bottom of Gary Lovern. Lovern's hanging tough on that high side, Ryan.
Yeah, just not giving up, but it's allowing Mark Cohn to pull himself in.
Yeah, and how frustrating does it have to be for Cohn? I mean, he was running away with it, involved in contact. Really, that's nobody's fault. Smacks the outside wall. He gets the yellow, and then he gets checked up. Watches Lith Fox drive by him, and he's got to be thinking, man, I could have at least run third here, if not been for bad luck after bad luck, right? So it's got to be a frustrating night for Cohn, but a great drive still to pull himself back from a lap down and be battling. There could be a fifth place on the table here for that 39 yet.
Yeah, considering what could have happened, his day could have ended early. This is fantastic considering the circumstances.
And that's the mark of a great driver. If you can't win, try to be on the podium. If you can't be on the podium, try to run in the top five. If you can't run in the top five, just try to get whatever you can get. And Mark Cohn has definitely gotten pretty much all he could get. We are watching the battle. Fifth is Gary Lovern. That's the Red Votive Racing League machine. In sixth, you've got Chris Stouffer for 40 Racewear. And then behind them, it's the Sim Gaming Expo sponsored Joy of Driving machine for Mark Cohn. This is the best battle on the Speedway. Matt Wagner is trying to pull in on Daniel Durazo, but the cat, just a tick of the stopwatch faster, continues to ease himself away. If it gets close up there, I will absolutely take us to it. But for right now, this is the best action that we have available here. It's Lovern, Stouffer, and Cohn, 5th, 6th, and 7th. And Stouffer, he's going to dive to the bottom one more time, Ryan.
Yeah, just you don't want to give up during these closing laps. You want to get every position you can.
Clindy did want to point out that Lith Fox was reeling in Matty Wagner ever so slightly. He is just a hair over a tenth a lap quicker, and he's at 1.3 seconds back. So at this rate, Lith Fox would not catch Matty Wagner. Awfully close between Stouffer and Lovern there going through turns 3 and 4. We've got 8 laps to go here at New Hampshire. Wagner had made...
Big lunge from Cohn.
Yeah, big lunge from Cohn. Wagner had made a few of those big lunges at Daniel the Cat. And you'll see the gap close in anything from 1500ths down to 2/10. But those are big lunges through the corner. He's not able to he's not able to make that stick on exit. So whatever Wags gains on entry doing that, he loses on exit. Lith Fox, because Wagner is making those giant lunges, is slowly reeling him in. But again, I don't believe there's time enough for him to catch him. He's a second back and gaining about a tenth a lap as the server decides it does not want to play nice this evening, Ryan. And there we go. We are back. We'll get to that. We'll get to that front duo with 5 to go. Wagner is there, but just not enough. He's able to draw a wheel alongside, but then he has to slam the brakes, lift out of the throttle, and lose everything he just gained, Ryan.
And that's not ideal at all.
It is not. You can see the severity of the net code in the server. You can see the severity of the net code in the server as cars appear to be hitting the wall. I promise. Load that sucker up and see if he can't get by the cat here. To the outside, Wagner goes. He's going to try to pull the over-under. Durazo moves the inside to slam the door. Wagner is there. Wagner to the bottom, headed for turn number 3, coming to get the white flag. They rub wheels. They touch. Be careful. Wagner's around on the bottom. Wagner into the wall hard. No. Stouffer went between Wags and the wall. There is no caution because Daniel the Cat had taken the white flag before Wagner slowed down enough to trigger the yellow. That's going to leave Daniel Durazo home free to come get the checkers. Wagner is got to be heartbroken. He is going to finish in. He is going to finish the tail end of the lead lap in 9th spot. Your winner is Daniel the Cat Durazo. Lith Fox comes home 2nd. Alex Miller is 3rd. Mark Cohn winds up in 5th, and you have got to see what can only be described as a wild drive for Chris Stouffer around that accident. My goodness gracious. We're going to get on board. Watch this view, Ryan. That's the wreck car of Matt Wagner. Stouffer has Cone under him. He has nowhere to go. He splits the difference and goes through. He goes through in between the wall and Matt Wagner. Here's the situation as it happened at the end. I don't see any contact there, Ryan. It looks like Wags just got down on that flat bit and wasn't able to quite keep the car cornered. And watch Chris Stouffer come through here. Watch Stouffer. Good grief.
It's pretty much like, hey, it's either going to be I'm going to hit a car or I'm going to hit the wall. And if you hit the wall, you can finish the race.
My goodness gracious. Chris Stouffer, that was a pretty cool move. These guys are all guys and gals are all very good at what they do. But tonight, it was Daniel the Cat Durazo. He's going to claim his 2nd win here in the Horizon IndyCar Series. From Lith Fox and Alex Miller are the middle and bottom of the podium. Gary Lovern is going to come home 4th, and Mark Cohn, he led the most laps. He got himself a lap down. He comes back and finishes a fine 5th. Jacob Wilson is 6th. Chris Stouffer 7th. Turner Johnson is 8th. Joseph Morales 9th. And Matty Wagner, after a crack at the win late, last car on the lead lap in 10th. In 11th, you've got Mike Rigney. Hugo Gallas is 12th. In 13th, Yari Brubaker. Nate Fields will finish 14th. 15th is Andrew Serwak. Jeff Heisong is 16th. Race control does not start, and so Shane Coker will not be credited with 17th. My goodness gracious, Ryan. Whew. All right. Now that we've caught our breath, do we have anybody in the waiting room? We've got Alex Miller. Alex, you've got Murph. You've got the wreck, Ryan Eric King in the P1 broadcasting booth. That was wild for a New Hampshire ride. Started in the back. It looked like you might just be riding around, and I look up, man, and you're third. Tell us about your day.
Yeah, I kind of screwed myself because I hit the wall on my qualifying lap. So that was a great start to the race. Then Jeff and I had a little incident. He said in the Discord apparently his spotter sound wasn't working, glitched out, and he kind of turned in on me. So, I mean, good to know I'm not the idiot there, at least. I thought for a second I just kind of drove through him accidentally, but no, I didn't do anything. And then after that, I had wing damage, and in my lovely amount of smartness in this race, didn't check before or during the caution, and decided to hit my damage button after the green flag, only to be told I had front wing damage. So then I fell half a lap down, and eventually was just like, okay, I'm so slow, I might as well just pit at this point because my race is done. And like 5 laps after I pit and went 2 laps down, a caution came out. So it was just really the no good, terrible, very bad race for like about 100 laps of that. For me, really. I literally all I did at the end was keep myself from wrecking, and that's just how I gain spots.
Well, sometimes perseverance is better than speed, and you certainly persevered today, Alex. Great run to third, Ryan. Do you have anything you'd like to add?
I asked about the conditions today. Was it the typical New Hampshire fare that we're used to, where it's 1.5 lines and fighting your way through dirty air?
Yeah, really for me it was worse. I maybe it was just a me issue. Other people seem to say they did fine with it, but I couldn't figure out the setup. Like, I was trying everything that I could. I was cranking the rear bar up, cranking the front bar down, cranking the weight jacker up, and just I couldn't get the front end to turn like at all mid corner compared to how other people were doing it. So I kind of just struggled, and then Matt making a mistake there, spinning off the apron on the final lap, with 2 to go, is literally the only reason I'm sitting in here right now. So,
well, I'll tell you what, Alex, sitting in here is better than not sitting in here. Sometimes it takes a little bit of luck. You've won 3 of these this year, a fine podium finish today, and you know the drill. You finish on the podium, you get the mic. Friends, family, sponsor, shout-outs. The floor is yours.
Yeah, shout out to Matt for putting on the league. Shout out Andrew for building the sets, and congrats to him. I know he works on Rossi's car, not Rasmussen's, but they got a win at Milwaukee. I didn't watch the race, and I literally just checked the internet afterwards. I was just like, excuse me? But, so that was a thing. So good job to them, and shout out to just everyone online if they're listening. I'm sure they know who they are, who just kind of support me through everything and get me to the point where I'm getting podiums despite having a horrible race. So
I'll tell you what, there's nothing to be ashamed of. Sometimes these drives are the most satisfying. Get out of here, go celebrate, have some fun, and we will see you at the next one, Alex.
Yeah.
That is Alex Miller. He is going to finish third today. A surprise third, but a third nonetheless, and give him full marks. For second, probably another driver, Ryan, that we would not have thought at the halfway point would be on the podium, and that's Lith Fox. Lith, welcome to the P1 broadcasting booth. You've got Murph, you've got the wreck, and that was a fun day. Kind of talk us through your run.
Yeah, it was I would say an interesting day. I ran into a number of technical issues. First off, I didn't put down any laps of practice prior to everything because I just was setting up because I had been sick last week, so I haven't been racing the past 2 weeks or so. So I had a fever all the way through Sunday. So this was the first time I've been on the track. I think it was the first time I was up in the top 5 there. My VR headset decided to disconnect and make me only see a gray screen. So I had to get off the track safely without seeing where I was looking. Yeah, that's why I lost a bunch of positions early on.
Oh, no.
And so I had to deal with that. And then we got back up. And then we had that spin that happened. I kind of have this policy. I try to do whatever I can to not hit someone, even if it's not really my problem. So they spun. I should have gone to the low side. I decided to go to the high side, thinking that they'd hold the brakes a little bit. They let off just a little bit, and I ended up sending it into the wall there. So I had to come into pit lane early up and lose a bunch of positions on that caution there. And somehow miraculously, I was able to get the car tools to work with me to get the car to actually turn, which I know was a complaint for a lot of drivers on the track. I was able to get the car do what I wanted. Was kind of hoping Matt and what was it? It was a David. I apologize for names here, but the leaders there. I was hoping that they would fight each other a little bit more, and I could probably catch up to them by the end. But luckily, I was able to at least get a P2. So quite happy with that race for myself.
Yeah, I'd be happy with a P2 too. Anytime you can walk away from one of the flat ovals with a podium finish, you've had a pretty good night. Ryan, what have you got for Lith Fox this evening?
No, Lith, you answered the question that I already had in mind because it definitely seemed off seeing you slow down, and it's like I heard you say something over the radio about you thinking that you disconnected.
No, yeah, it was just the so for those that don't use VR or experience it, each eye is its own screen. Mine just went gray, so I didn't see anything when I was pulling off the track there. It was me just trying to guess, okay, where's everyone else going to be and where do I need to be? It was kind of terrifying. And then the restart after that, I had a little bit of a slow restart because I was talking with Frankie, who was luckily spotting for me at the time. And I was like, hey, listen, if this happens again, this is what I'm gonna need you to do to make sure that we can get me off the track safely so I don't take anyone out. So definitely always try to keep safety in mind, of course, when we're on the track, even if it's virtual. But yeah, sometimes stuff like that, hardware failures like that just happen, and just kind of stinks that happened there. I think I had a good chance to win it if I would have been able to keep up there the entire time. But otherwise, I'm still happy with the finish we got.
Gotcha. Well, we're happy to have you, Lith. As always, you get on the podium, you get the mic. Friends, family, sponsors, shout outs. The floor is yours.
All right. Well, shout out to my spotter, Frisky Frankie, who couldn't be on the race today because he wasn't feeling too well. But thank you for being there for me, being able to help me with fuel and get everything going with that. Shout out to my viewers, of course, who've always been supportive and definitely making sure to keep me alive and fed. Shout out to also Mirai United VRT. I'm wearing their hat on my stream right now because I added that in there. And then final shout out to Sim Gaming Expo and everybody that's going to be there. I forgot to put it on my car for the 4th week in a row. Frankie told me to keep doing that, and I kept forgetting. But I'm going to be there. I hope to see other people there as well.
Yeah, I'm going to be there. The Rec can't make it, but I'm going to be there. I know a bunch of guys from P1 are going to be there. I know Jacob Collins is going to be there from the channel. You've probably raced against him, so there's going to be a huge contingent. I think you and I are going to get to do some racing with each other.
Yeah, I believe that. Is it the was it GSI, the open wheel?
Yeah. So I won't be able to.
Yeah, that's gonna be fun.
I won't be able to keep up with you guys on the road courses because I'm a terrible road racer. So I'm really looking forward to the Chicago and Michigan rounds of that challenge. But it'd be cool to meet everybody, and thank you so much for joining us, Lith. Keep going fast, having fun, buddy, and I'll see you at least in 2 weeks, man.
Yeah, see you in 2 weeks.
Yes,
bye,
sir.
everyone.
That is Lith Fox. He is your second place runner, and to the top step of the podium we go. It's Daniel Durazo, the cat. You got the Corona liveried machine to the front. You had a heck of a race in your Track Rocket car with Matty Wags. You two had a battle going into turn 1, turn 4, the final lap. You came out the winner. Kind of walk us through that battle and how you were able to best one of the best in the business.
Mark, how's it going? Yeah, I mean, that I was just using the line everybody else wasn't using, and turned out it was, working for the majority of the race. That bottom line, right above 1 and 2, where that dash is, because the banking is like not accurate to what the track actually shows. We saw that unfortunate circumstance with my teammate Matt Wagner there. Yeah, I mean, I was just guarding low. I didn't expect him to set it in, and he tiptoed over the dash, and yeah, I don't know. It's tough. It's tough. My line wasn't working at the end there. My tires were kind of getting a little fried. I think it was my tools. I changed my tools for some reason. That didn't do anything. I don't know why I did that. But I mean, I came into this track knowing it's going to be way different than everybody thinks, and yeah, I mean, that's how I played out. Everybody was running a weird line, and I just chose the bottom line because love the bottom feeder everywhere we go, and it worked.
There you go. Ryan, what do you have for tonight's winner?
I'd probably ask about how you got to the lead, and pretty much the chaos out on track, despite there not being that many entries today.
Yeah, I was certainly getting a little frustrated today. People jumping off the fence, about to destroy my car. Yeah, I mean, I didn't expect that, honestly. I thought this week was a little easier to drive than the weeks we've been here before. But I mean, just fast reaction time, I guess. I was prepared for things that we're probably hoping not going to happen, but just gotta be ready to make any jump of the wheel you can get. I got scared a couple of times, especially on like the starts and stuff like that when I was in the back. Like I said earlier, yeah, it was just the bottom line. Nobody was taking it, and I feel like every track we go to, nobody takes the bottom line enough. So I was just using that the whole way around. Now passing people was real tough. I couldn't make it stick unless they screwed up or something. But just got onto the right strategy. Everybody pit. I didn't. My guys up front didn't either. So yeah, I just went on from there. And in terms of the lead, I think I just got a good run in the pits. I mean, yeah, I got lucky because I didn't know where to brake. So I mean, I tiptoed in there as much as I could.
There you go. Once you got the lead, though, you didn't tiptoe. You raced out and raced away from Matty Wags. He was able to close the gap and mount a challenge at the end, but you held him off. Congratulations on the win, Daniel. As always, you win the race. You get the mic. Friends, family, sponsor, shout-outs. The floor is yours.
Thanks, Mike. Mark, my fault.
That's the nicest thing. That's the nicest thing Matt Wagner's called me all day is Mike. So go on ahead.
Yeah, Mike's a great teammate. I'm just really unfortunate, that happened. Obviously, not to sound snobby, but it was just hard racing. Yeah, shout out to Matt Wagner. We were helping each other out that whole race, or at least trying to for the most part. I want to shout out my team Track Rocket and our sponsor Mahatma Rice. I'm the only driver in the world that's sponsored by Mahatma Rice other than Pato Award. So that's a pretty fun fact.
There you go. Well, get out of here. Go get you a cup of rice, maybe a Tecate, reading the side of your car. Enjoy it, my friend. Keep going fast and having fun. You hear?
Thanks, man. See you guys.
Yes, sir. That is Daniel the Cat Durazo, and he is your winner tonight. And Ryan, that was kind of what we expected, but also not what we expected. In terms of the competition, there was a little bit more racing than I thought there would be.
Yeah, because despite both sides of Mark Cohn's day pulling out early and then ending up having to fight his way through the field, the racing behind the leader was very intense most of the way through.
Yeah, and it most certainly can be. And sometimes these races are like that. You just have to, really kind of you really kind of have to look to the field and mind the timing and scoring to kind of see where the battle is on the racetrack, because often the front 2 or 3 might be settled out, but there might be a raging 3-wide fight for 7th, and that's pretty entertaining to watch. Speaking of entertaining to watch, Ryan, we have a full slate ahead here on the P1 Broadcasting Channel. Tomorrow night, it's going to be the AMA Blackmagic Studios Grand National Series, live from Portland at Sam Crow and I, 8:20 on the pre-race, 8:35 for the race start. And then Friday night, we're going to have the AMA Archway Industrial Coatings Truck Series. That's going to be live. That's going to be from Darlington. The Xfinity cars at Darlington, Ryan. That's going to be a fun time for sure. Again, 8:20 on the pre-race, 8:35 start. For the iRacing IndyCar Series, they're going to be live at 2 o'clock this Saturday. That's going to be from the Nashville Superspeedway. Again, 2 o'clock for the iRacing IndyCar Series presented by 40 Raceware. That is the finale, I believe. And then next Tuesday, we're going to have the IndyCar Oval Series Tuesday Top Split presented by Techtopia. That's going to be from Legacy, Michigan. Ryan, as we mentioned, we're going to have the IndyCar Monday Night Top Split Open Series finale on Wednesday. That's due to the holiday. That's going to be from Road America at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard. We do want to thank everybody involved here at P1, not only our friends on the racetrack, but all of the fans in the stands, in the viewing room, in the chat. It's a pleasure to call and discuss these races with you. If you haven't already done so, make sure you smash the like button on the video, ring the bell, subscribe to the channel, be notified of all future P1 iRacing action. We'd also like to thank the people that really make it possible: the military, the police, the firemen, the EMTs that drive the ambulance, and the nurse that's waiting on you when you get to the emergency room. From the bottom of our heart, we thank you all. Ryan, let's get out of here, man.